He rose from a slave to become a god of war. He was the first to lead an expedition against the Xiongnu, driving the once unbeatable Xiongnu cavalry to the northwest and settling the scores of humiliation and vengeance under their iron hooves since the founding of the Han Dynasty. Initially serving as a bodyguard for the princess, he ended up marrying her. Today, let's talk about his story. Wei Qing, with an unknown birth year, originally surnamed Zheng but used his mother's surname Wei, styled Zhongqing, was from Pingyang, Hedong, now southwest of Linfen, Shanxi. His mother, Wei Ao, and her husband had 4 children, the eldest son, Wei Zhangzi, and 3 daughters, Wei Ru, Wei Shao'er, and Wei Zifu. Wei Qing was actually an illegitimate child. His mother, Wei Ao, while serving as a servant in the Marquis of Pingyang house, had an affair with a man named Zheng Ji, resulting in the birth of Wei Qi. Thus, Wei Qing and the later empress of the Han Dynasty, Wei Zifu, were actually half-siblings with the same mother but different fathers. A few years later, due to financial difficulties, Wei Qing was sent by his mother to live with his biological father, Zheng Ji. However, in the Zheng household, Wei Qing did not receive the treatment he deserved. Instead, he was treated like a slave, herding sheep, and the children of Zheng did not treat him as their brother but instead mistreated him. As he grew up, Wei Qing, unwilling to endure further oppression from the Zheng family, returned to his mother's side and became a stable boy for the princess of Pingyang. Once, when Wei Qing accompanied someone to the Guantao palace, a prisoner saw his appearance and said, "This is the face of a nobleman, destined to be ennobled." Wei Qing laughed and replied, "As the son of a slave, I'm already fortunate enough to avoid beatings and scolding, how could I possibly achieve enough to be ennobled?" In 139 BC, Emperor Wu of Han happened upon Wei Zifu, who was visiting the Pingyang mansion to tend to graves, and fell in love with her at first sight. A year later, after Wei Zifu entered the palace, although she was initially overlooked for over a year, she eventually became pregnant, which aroused the jealousy of Empress Chen. Wei Zifu's mother, Princess Guantao, attempted to harm Wei Qing, who was then working in the Jianzhang palace. Fortunately, his colleague Gong Sunao heard about the situation and came to rescue him. Emperor Wu was very angry when he found out about all this, and Wei Qing, at the age of 17, turned misfortune into fortune. He was immediately put in charge of supervising the construction of the Jianzhang palace, allowed to stay by the emperor's side, and Wei Zifu was made a lady, while Wei Zhangjun was promoted to be an attendant. In the following days, Emperor Wu rewarded Wei Qing many times, giving him a total of 1,000 gold pieces. Wei Ru married Taipu, Gong Sunhe, and Wei Shao'er married Chen Jiang, a descendant of Chen Ping. Gong Sunao's position was also elevated as a result. Later, Wei Qing was promoted to Grand Doctor of the Central Palace, with an annual salary of 1,000 dan of grain, participating in the discussions and decisions of court politics. From 138 BC to 129 BC, over nearly 10 years, Wei Qing, as the supervisor of Jianzhang and an attendant, followed the emperor closely, hearing about the affairs of the court together with him, and later became a Grand Doctor of the Central Palace. His talents gained the deep trust of Emperor Wu, laying a solid foundation for his later 7 campaigns against the Xiongnu and even his appointment as Grand Marshal and General, participating in the inner court's political decisions and holding control over the central mechanisms. In 130 BC, the Xiongnu mobilized their troops southward, aiming directly at Shanggu. Emperor Wu of Han appointed Wei Qing as the general of chariots and cavalry, leading 10,000 cavalrymen to meet the Xiongnu. Emperor Wu dispatched forces on 4 fronts. General of chariots and cavalry Wei Qing advanced from Shanggu, Cavalry General Gong Sunao from Daijun, General of light chariots Gong Sunhe from Yunzhong, and General Li Guang from Yanme. Each commander led 10,000 cavalrymen. However, as soon as they engaged, Gong Sunao was instantly defeated. Li Guang was even captured alive by the Xiongnu, and Gong Sunhe didn't dare to engage and returned without any achievements. Only Wei Qing, on his first campaign against the Xiongnu, chose not to defend but took the opportunity to strike directly at the Xiongnu sacred site, Longcheng, capturing 700 prisoners and achieving victory. Among the other 3 routes, 2 were defeats, and 1 returned without success. Seeing that only Wei Qing returned victorious, Emperor Wu ennobled him as a marquis within the passes. The Battle of Longcheng marked the first victory against the Xiongnu since the early Han Dynasty, laying a solid foundation of morale for further counterattacks by the Han Dynasty. A year later, still unsatisfied, Emperor Wu once again appointed Wei Qing as the general of chariots and cavalry to lead 30,000 cavalry out of Yemen Pass. Wei Qing made a deep incursion, slaughtering thousands of Xiongnu and securing a second victory against them. In 127 BC, the Xiongnu launched a major invasion of Shanggu and Yueyang, first breaking through Liaoxi, killing the governor of Liaoxi, then defeating the defender of Yueyang, Han Anguo, and looting over 2,000 civilians. Emperor Wu dispatched Li Xi from Daijun to strike, and Wei Qing led a large army to attack the Xiongnu occupied areas of Henan, using a tactic of indirect approach and flank attack, moving west to the rear of the Xiongnu forces, swiftly taking Gaoque, and cutting off the connection between the Xiongnu forces stationed in Henan and the kings Baiyang Wang and Lou Fan Wang with the Tianyu royal court. Afterward, Wei Qing led his elite cavalry southward to the west of Longxian, encircling the Baiyang Wang and Lou Fan Wang. The Han forces captured thousands of enemy soldiers and seized millions of livestock, gaining control over the Hetao region. Because this area had fertile water and grass and was strategically important, Emperor Wu constructed the city of Shuofang there, established the counties of Shuofang and Wuyuan, relocated 100,000 people from the interior to settle there, and also repaired the fortifications built by Mengtian during the Qin dynasty along the river. This removed the direct threat of the Xiongnu cavalry to Chang'an and established a forward base for further counterattacks against the Xiongnu. In this battle, the Han forces returned in full armor, and Wei Qing made significant contributions, being ennobled as Marquis of Changping with a fief of 3,800 households. Su Jian and Zhang Zigong, for their meritorious service under General Wei Qing, were ennobled as Marquis of Pingling and Marquis of Antou, respectively. In the summer of 126 BC, tens of thousands of cavalry attacked Daijun, killed the governor Gongyou, and looted over 1,000 people. That autumn, they entered Yemen and looted over 1,000 people. In 125 BC, the Xiongnu again sent 30,000 cavalry each to attack Daijun, Dingxiang and Shangju. In the spring of 124 BC, the court ordered General of Chariots and Cavalry Wei Qing to lead 30,000 cavalry from Gaoque, ordered Commandant Su Jian as guerrilla general, left interior historian Yi Ju as strong crossbow general, Taipu, Gong Sun He as cavalry general, and the chancellor of Daiguo, Li Cai as general of light chariots, all under the command of General Wei Qing, to set out from Shuofang. The court also ordered Daxing Li Xi and Marquis of Antou, Zhang Zigong as generals, to set out from Youbeiping. They all went to attack the Xiongnu. Little did the Xiongnu right virtuous king anticipate the youthful hero, thinking it impossible for the Han forces to reach their location, thus he indulged in drinking within his troops. At night, the Han army arrived, surrounding the right virtuous king. Shocked, he fled in the dark, alone with his favorite concubine and a few hundred elite cavalry, breaking through in a northward escape. Light cavalry prefect Guoteng and others pursued for hundreds of miles but failed to catch up. The Han army captured more than 10 lesser kings under the right virtuous king, over 15,000 men and women, and livestock numbering in the millions. Emperor Wu was overjoyed to the point of speechlessness. He immediately decreed Wei Qing as Grand General, a position above even the Prime Minister, granting him a fief of 6,000 households, with all generals under his command. Wei Qing's 3 sons were ennobled by Emperor Wu as marquises. The eldest son Wei Kang as Marquis of Yichun, the second son Wei Buyi as Marquis of Yinan, and the youngest son Wei Deng as Marquis of Fagan, each with a fief of 1,300 households. Emperor Wu then further rewarded the generals who had fought alongside Wei Qing. In 123 BC, Wei Qing led 100,000 cavalry in a two-pronged attack against the Xiongnu in spring and summer. In February, with Gong Sun Ao as central general, Gong Sun He as left general, Zhao Xin as front general, Su Jian as right general, Li Guang as rear general, and Yi Ju as strong crossbow general, they led 6 armies under the supreme command of Grand General Wei Qi. They set off from Dingxiang, advancing northwards for hundreds of miles. After the battle, the entire army returned to Dingxiang for rest. A month later, they crossed the border again. This time, differently, Wei Qing took his nephew with him to gain experience. Unexpectedly, the one being looked after turned out to be Wei Qing himself. This campaign resulted in over 10,000 Xiongnu soldiers captured. His nephew was the young hero Huo Qubin, who in this battle led 800 cavalry alone, capturing the Tianyu uncle and the national chancellor, and killing over 2,028 people including the Tianyu grandfather, thus being ennobled as Marquis of Guanju. The Grand General rewarded him with 1,000 pieces of gold, but did not increase his ennoblement. In the spring of 119 BC, Emperor Wu deployed 140,000 warhorses and 500,000 infantrymen as a logistical support corps, entrusting Wei Qing and Huo Qubing each with leading 50,000 cavalrymen, supported by over 100,000 infantrymen and transport troops, splitting into two forces for a long march across the desert to strike the Xiongnu. The original plan was for Huo Qubing to select elite troops to attack the Tianyu main force, while Wei Qing targeted the left virtuous king. However, from captured Xiongnu soldiers, it was learned that the Tianyu, Yi Zhixie, was in the east. Thus, the two armies switched their routes, with Huo Qubing moving out from Daijun in the east and Wei Qing from Dingxiang in the west. Wei Qing army, having traveled over 1,000 miles from the border, unexpectedly encountered the Xiongnu main force. Wei Qing ordered Front General Li Guang and Right General Zhao Shiqi to merge their forces and envelop the enemy from the right wing, while personally leading Left General Gong Sun He and Rear General Cao Xiang to confront the Tianyu main force head-on. Wei Qing instructed the formation of a circular encampment with the Wugang chariots and commanded 5,000 cavalrymen to charge against the Xiongnu, who had about 10,000 cavalrymen rushing forward. As the sun was setting, a strong wind blew sand and stones into people's faces, rendering both armies unable to see each other. The Han army then ordered a fast charge from both flanks to encircle the Tianyu. Seeing the vast number of Han troops and the strength of their warriors and horses, the Tianyu realized that engaging in battle would be disadvantageous for the Xiongnu. Therefore, in the evening, the Tianyu fled the encirclement in a cart pulled by 6 mules, accompanied by a few hundred strong cavalrymen, rushing northwest. By dusk, the Han and Xiongnu forces were entangled in combat, with casualties roughly equal on both sides. The Han army's left colonel captured Xiongnu prisoners who reported that the Tianyu had left before darkness fell. The Han army dispatched light cavalry to pursue through the night, with the Grand General's troops following. The Xiongnu soldiers scattered in flight. By dawn, having marched over 200 miles, the Han army failed to catch the Tianyu but captured and killed over 19,000 enemy soldiers, reaching Zhaoxin city at Mount Tianyan and seizing the Xiongnu stored grain for army consumption. The Han army stayed one day before returning, burning the remaining grain in the city. Upon returning to camp, they encountered Yi Guang and Zhao Shiqi units, which had lost their way and failed to arrive in time to provide support. The Battle of the Northern Desert shattered the main force of the Xiongnu south of the desert, forcing them to migrate northwestward. Within a decade, they no longer possessed the strength to move south. However, the Han army also suffered significant losses, with only about 30,000 of the 140,000 horses deployed returning. The loss of hundreds of thousands of Han soldiers and horses, not to mention the costs of transporting weapons, armor, and other supplies by land and water, was so great that even depleting the treasury and tax revenues was insufficient to cover the expenses of the campaign. Emperor Wu then established the rank of Marshal Marquis to raise military funds. To honor the military achievements of Wei Qing and Huo Qubing, Emperor Wu specially appointed them as Grand Marshals, granting them the authority to manage daily military and administrative affairs, effectively taking over the duties of the Grand Commandant. Wei Qing was ennobled as Marquis of Tangping, and after 2 additional enfeoffments over 4 years later, the husband of Princess Bingyang committed suicide. To further solidify the family ties, Emperor Wu then arranged for the 40-year-old Wei Qing to marry his own sister. In 106 BC, at the age of 49, Wei Qing passed away. To commemorate his illustrious military achievements, Emperor Wu had a tomb built in the shape of Mount Yin northeast of Maoling, titled Tomb Resembling Mount Lu. He was posthumously named Loyal, following the principle of achieving merits through martial deeds and honoring the profession with virtue is called loyal, from the laws of posthumous titles. After Wei Qing's death, Emperor Wu issued edicts seeking talented individuals, acknowledging the desire to honor both civil and military achievements. Throughout his life, Wei Qing did not seek personal gain nor cultivate personal followers. His major victory at Longcheng broke the Han Dynasty's century-long string of defeats against the Xiongnu, reclaimed the Hetao region, and established Chuofang and Wuyuan counties south of the Yin Mountains as bulwarks against the Xiongnu. His surprise attack on Gaoque further demolished the Xiongnu arrogance. His 2 campaigns from Dingxiang nurtured the young war god Huo Qubing. The great battle north of the desert demonstrated the possibility of overcoming a stronger enemy with a weaker force, rendering the Xiongnu no longer capable of threatening the south, thereby securing peace within the realm and marking the legendary life of Wei Qi. If you like this video, please help me like the subscription rating. Your support is my creative power. Thank you.